Hello everyone, I am Dr. Abhishek Chaudhary, and today, in continuation with our session last time, I would like your attention to one of the not commonly used and a very small remedy, but another tubercular nosode, and its name is Tuberculinum aviare. And as the name suggests, it is a product of chicken tuberculosis. The liver of the chicken which was affected by tuberculosis, it is prepared from that. And one of the main indication is that the apex of the lung, the upper part of the lung, is affected, just like basilinum. Basilinum also has this tendency of the affection of the apex. But you will find the picture of Tuberculinum aviare mostly suited for cases of bronchitis, and a kind of bronchitis that develops after attack of influenza. Person suffered from influenza, and after that influenza was over, a kind of bronchitis develops as maybe as a complication. And that bronchitis picture was very similar to a picture of tuberculosis, like weight loss, emaciation, tiredness, lethargy, a kind of low grade fever. And when you test, when you do investigation for such a patient, you will find that he is not suffering from tuberculosis, but still there is a picture that resembles almost exactly like TB. In cases like that, you can think of this a small nosode called Tuberculinum aviare. And in continuation with this discussion, no discussion of tuberculosis can be over without the discussion of phosphorus. But so much has been told. You all might have read so much about phosphorus, how the person's physical makeup, how's his mental picture, psychologically how is the person, and what are the pathological indications. And phosphorus is a wonderful drug for tuberculosis. It's a first grade remedy. If you can see in your repertory, it's a first grade remedy for tuberculosis. And because of its action, such a widespread action, you will find that it is indicated in almost any type of tuberculosis, if the picture agrees. Of course, you have to look for totality. In every case, look for the totality. Don't just prescribe phosphorus just because it's a main remedy for tuberculosis. Always look for the totality. And phosphorus, our common exposure with phosphorus is with this matchstick. A simple matchbox, the surface on which we rub, this matchstick, when we rub on this surface, The surface on which we rub is mainly coated with red phosphorus, and red phosphorus is a stable form of phosphorus. But when we rub the matchstick on this surface, a kind of reaction develops, the heat develops, and that red phosphorus is converted to white phosphorus. At that conversion produces heat and a chain reaction that lights up the match. But why I am telling you this is because if you have experienced it, many of us might have experienced it. If you by mistake inhale that fume just at the moment when you light a matchstick, if you inhale that smoke is very irritating. It's a very sharp stench that you will feel in your nostril. And that is the nature of phosphorus. Phosphorus, when exposed to the body, causes a lot of irritation. During around 19th century, when workers used to make these match boxes, the workers who used to work in match factories, they were constantly inhaling phosphorus, and that continuous inhalation causes the necrosis of their jaw, especially the lower jaw. The teeth becomes denuded of the gums, lot of caries, osteomyelitis like changes, and a lot of necrosis. At that condition was called as phossy jaw, because it was caused by phosphorus. It was called phossy jaw. And when Hahnemann proved phosphorus, a lot of symptom of proving and symptom of the phossy jaw, because it was a symptoms of poisoning by phosphorus, chronic poison. They were both taken and incorporated in our materia medica. Still, if you see in boric, if you have boric with you, an open phosphorus, and you can see the first line, phosphorus irritates, inflames and degenerates mucous membrane, irritates and inflames serous membrane, inflames the spinal cord and nerves, causing paralysis, destroys bone, especially the lower jaw and tibia, means even the long bones, disorganizes the blood, causing fatty degeneration. And it is another pathological change that phosphorus develops, fatty degeneration. So you will find fatty liver, even fatty changes of the heart. Phosphorus is a very great remedy, very great heart remedy. We often don't look at that aspect of phosphorus, but phosphorus is a great heart remedy. Fatty changes you will find in heart also. He writes in the second paragraph, causes yellow atrophy of the liver and subacute hepatitis. So we should know these things. It will help us to look at phosphorus essence. What is the pathology that phosphorus develops? And phosphorus may look like physically, the physical makeup may look like tuberculinum, because both are lean, thin, tall, slender person, stooped shoulder. Although the mental picture differ quite a lot. Phosphorus, in general, if you see phosphorus, the common phosphorus that will come to your clinic, very bubbly, very extrovert, and very timid. Desire, juices, cold food, desire salt. Now, excessive intake of salt is also means the bad effects of excessive intake of salt is also observed in phosphorus, just like natramure. So about the timidity, phosphorus is a timid personality. He gets fearful from the thunderstorm, any loud noises, and he gets scared. And that timidity, a phosphorus lady, for example, can be easily fooled by a lycopodium salesman or a lycopodium shopkeeper. The shopkeeper will tell her that you should take this and you should buy this remedy, you should buy this product, or else you will be affected by so many things. And she will buy it. If a doctor is lycopodium and he has a phosphorus patient, and the doctor is prescribing this remedy, that remedy, this syrup, this capsule, this tablet, this supplement, lot of things, and if that person is a phosphorus person, she will buy all that. She has a quality of being easily fooled, of naive nature. If you compare it with China, you can easily compare it with China and pulsatilla. But China is entirely different. China will look at you with doubt. If a China person comes to your clinic, and you are asking so many questions about mental general, physical general, and all that, she'll ask you that why you are asking these questions. She will be cautious. On the other hand, phosphorus is very revealing kind of person. He will easily tell you about things, and he has, because of this, the bubbly, the extrovert nature, phosphorus person can easily get by from the difficult situation. For example, one of your friend is a phosphorus patient, a phosphorus personality, and if he or she borrowed some money from you, and when the time comes to take that money back, he or she will make some kind of lame excuse, like you want money, oh, I'll give you a party someday, something like that, and you will not feel angry, because the way he or she says that, you will not tend to fear anger, and that is their quality of phosphorus. whatever their expression or their body language, the way they say these things, they are the persons who easily get by from these kind of situations very easily. In comparison to tuberculinum, phosphorus is a more amative. Sexually, I remember one of the case that I read somewhere from a senior doctor, and he told about that there was one big businessman, and he was old, and he was dying of tuberculosis, and that doctor was called to that businessman office home, and when he went to that businessman's home, his wife told the doctor, he has tuberculosis, he is so weak, but still, he is showing very sexual and very shameless behavior. He is exposing his genitalia, he is, constantly passing vulgar comments to the nurses who are taking care of him. And that is the insanity part. If you look at the rubric insanity, you will find phosphorus there. Let's look at it. Phosphorus is given in the first grade in insanity. And what that patient was suffering from is a kind of lascivious insanity. So in lasciviousness, being amorous, the rubric amorous is very different from lasciviousness. We all know about hyoscyamus and stramonium. Just like that. And being amorous is different thing. Being amorous means that person has sexual desire, but he may express it, he may not express it. Natramure is first grade in amorous. But if you see in lasciviousness or in shamelessness, you will not find natramure that much strong. You will find it in a bit lower grade. And that is kind of the thing that you will find with tuberculinum also. When phosphorus is healthy, he is very jolly, very friendly person. He has that amativeness when he is healthy also, but it's in a healthy way, that is expressed in a healthy way, not in excess. But in later stages, in advanced stages, you will find this kind of behavior. Tuberculinum, on the other hand, is a remedy that is, tubercular miasm. If you see, it's a miasm between psychosis and syphilis. So you will find the fibrotic changes, and you will find the destructive nature. A kind of constriction is produced because of that fibrosis. That fibrosis has caused the decrease of the lung space. And he has to live with that limited amount of lung space. So there is a kind of constriction, a restriction, and he wants to break free. He don't want to be limited to that. He don't want to be feel constricted. That's why you will see a destructive nature. Many times a parent comes to you and tells about their child that no toy will ever last in this child's hand. He will break the toy the next day or within few hours. Similarly, the child's clothes. You will find this kind of destructiveness in remedies like, of course, in remedies like belladonna, stramonium, hyoscyamus, in some animal remedies like tarantula. But you will find this kind of destructiveness even in tuberculinum. And right from the childhood, you may see this destructiveness. When he gets to the adulthood stage, that desire to break free is expressed in his work also. He like to change jobs, like to change places. We see the rubric cosmopolitan. We can talk a lot about both of these remedies, phosphorus and tuberculinum. Lot of mental aspect we can look upon it. Maybe some next time we will discuss some more also. But let's look at some rubrics that I mentioned in the previous session. And that is the last stage of tuberculosis. We were talking about the incipient stage in the previous lecture. And in this session we will look at the last stage. Let's look at that rubric again. And we have around 30-35 remedies, and right now I am using complete repertory, but if you have any other repertory, you will find, most probably you will find this rubric, the tuberculosis last stage. And we have apart from the big remedies like calcarea, carboveg, lycopodium, pulsatilla, we will find some smaller remedies also. Remedies like pix liquida, which is prepared from pine tar. It is a great remedy for the end stages of TB. And if you look at some other remedies like philandrium. Philandrium is a very interesting remedy because the middle lobe is affected. You can see in Boric he writes tuberculosis affecting generally the middle lobes of the lung, and everything tastes sweet to this patient, indicated in the end stages. You can see a very fetid or a very purulent, offensive sputum. He writes offensive expectoration and cough in thysis. Phatak tells us that it is like, almost like bed bugs, so offensive, philandrium. And another remedy, that is sanguinaria. We always think of sanguinaria in cases wherever there is respiratory symptom associated with gastric complaints. But sanguinaria is a wonderful drug in last stages. If you read in Kent, you will understand that why remedies like pulsatilla is given here. and why some of the smaller remedies are given here. If you read in Sanguinaria, let's open Sanguinaria from Kent. And he writes in Sanguinaria that there is a class of remedies that suits better, there is a class of remedies that suits these thiazical patients better than sulfur, silesia and graphitis. Remedies such as pulsatilla, Sanguinaria, Senecio gracilis, Coccus cacti, which palliate, mitigate his suffering and may even build him up so that he could take a medium potency or a deeper remedy. And if you have knowledge about Kent's 12 observation, you know this, that if you give an antisoric too deep and patient's vitality was not so good, it will not yield good results. It will end in the deterioration of the case. So we should remember this, that in end stages when the vitality is not so good, we can always try remedies, smaller remedies. Look at that rubric again. You will find remedies like lachesis, when there was a lot of bleeding, non-coagulable blood is coming out, massive hemoptysis, and you will find in lachesis that the throat could be affected. You can give it in cases of laryngeal TB. Whenever the patient lies down, the suffocation, the cough, the throat, constriction feeling in the throat will aggravate whenever he lies down in case of lachesis. That is a very big indication for lachesis. And we have remedies like another animal remedy, that is tarantula. And tarantula has this, because it's a spider poison, you will find a lot of restlessness and a destructive phenomena, and lot of restlessness, and some very interesting things like the cough is ameliorated by smoking. You will find that in tarantula. So we can always look at remedies like this, like remedies like Drosera, Lobelia, Sorinum. You can always look at these kind of remedies for the last stages, just to palliate the case, or to maybe bring him to a stage from where you can think of to give some antisoric remedies. In the next session, maybe we will look at some of the rubrics that are associated with everyday life, that can help you to see your patient or to understand your patient more clearly. Rubrics which are suited to this modern time. That will be really interesting, and I hope to see you in my next video. If you have liked the video, kindly press the like button. If you don't like the video and if you have any suggestion, kindly mention it in the comment section. What I can improve, or what more do you like to learn? What more areas that you want me to focus on? Kindly leave it in the comment section, and you can share this video if you have liked it to your colleagues, to your junior students, or with any other homeopath. That's all for today. Thanks a lot.